My wife and I got married 2 weeks ago. We wanted a child-free wedding, so we've let everyone know, my family, in-laws, friends and relatives, and everyone was okay with it. Except for my family. I have 3 sisters, all with kids from 2 to 10. My mom said it was illogical to not allow kids in. 1. This never happened in the family, and 2. My sisters live towns away, so the kids can't be left alone. After a lot of arguing and others getting involved, I stood my ground and they agreed to not bring kids. At the wedding no one brought kids. My parents and aunts were already there. But then I saw my 2 sisters arriving with their kids. I immediately went to ask what's the deal. They began arguing with me when I said I won't be letting them in with the kids. I saw my older sister came with her kids in the car. I was pissed. I asked why they decided to go against the rule and bring kids. My mom started yelling at me when I told my sisters they weren't allowed in with the kids. Everyone was yelling at me. I had to get the security involved to make them leave. My parents and aunt left shortly after. They were so pissed at me. I got nasty texts later, and my cousin posted about my crappy wedding on Facebook. Days later, I've gathered the family and explained that what they did was wrong. I asked if I allowed my sisters with their kids, what message does that send to my in-laws and friends who wanted to bring kids, but they couldn't? My sisters argued with me and it turned out my mom told them to bring their kids and she'd deal with me later. I told them they could have arranged for a babysitter, but my mom said they wanted to celebrate as a whole family. Said that I ruined my own wedding by making a scene. And everyone will always remember my wedding as a disaster, a crap show because of mine and my wife's child-free bull. They said the only way to fix it is to have another wedding party and include everyone, especially kids. I called them unreasonable. I asked mom where the hell she got the nerve to even demand that. They blamed my wife and claimed it was deliberate. I left. They started talking to my wife, trying to convince her that they don't approve of what happened and that they're giving us the chance to fix the situation, otherwise the relationship is damaged. This caused me a headache, and I don't think what I did was wrong. I just wanted them to have some respect for my wife and her family. Everyone's the idiot here. Yes, it's your day, and you can do whatever you want. But if all of your siblings have kids, you are basically giving them the big middle finger, telling them they aren't allowed unless they want to make overnight arrangements for the kids or find childcare in a new place. I think the best route would have been to find someone who could watch all of the kids during the ceremony and reception. I mean, you're pissed at your sisters for bringing the kids when your mother was the one who told them to. Not the idiot. I'm a mom, and when someone said kid-free and I know it, I plan accordingly. My nephew is getting married in a month. His youngest sibling is 10. We are an extremely large family. His wife is an only child. Before they set a date, they came to us and asked for a child-free wedding, setting the age limit at 15, excluding his own siblings. We are big, Irish, and like to party, he marrying into a small conservative New England family. We all have kids under 15, but after realizing what he wanted we made plans. Not the idiot. Honestly, if it was me, as soon as I saw the kids I would have texted my sisters and told them to leave, and that I'm sending security. I would send security, they would not worry my head one bit more about it on my wedding day. If my family members asked about it, I would just say it's my wedding day, and if they are mad they can leave, and if they try to argue to me about it again they will leave via security. If it's your wedding day, it's your wedding day, just be happy, and if there are problems just make said person leave. I, 23, live with Grace, 23, Tom, 25, and Harry, 24. The 4 of us decided to go on a 4-day trip over the Easter period to a town 1 hour away that we had wanted to visit for a while. None of us had traveled for the last year, and we wanted a change of scenery, and all complied with our local COVID rules. We booked an Airbnb and planned some activities, museums, cool parks, local hotspots. We also made it clear that we were each going to be going off on our own to explore if we wanted, and everyone seemed to agree. The issue was on Easter Sunday. We decided to all go for a walk, ended up at a church, and then Grace told us to go inside. I asked to speak to her alone, so we sat on a bench nearby. I was in a Catholic school when I was younger and had a lot of trauma from it. There were some really horrible barbaric punishments that I can't list here. Grace is religious and I absolutely respect that for her, and I see how it enriches her life. When we moved in, I explained my experiences to her and told her that she could have religious items around, host religious events, but that I didn't want to actively participate in any activity or prayer. She agreed and we've never had a problem with it. While we were on the bench, I reminded her of this conversation, as there were signs that there was an Easter Mass happening inside that I felt uncomfortable going in. I told her that Shed guys were absolutely free to attend, and that I was more than happy to go and get an ice cream, and that we could meet up afterwards for lunch. She reacted badly, started yelling that I was a hypocrite because 2 years ago I visited La Sagrada Familia and went inside, and that I should just swallow it up and do the same today because I'm ruining our trip. I tried to explain that I can still admire the architecture of a church without wanting to participate, and that when I visited Sagrada, I chose a tour slot that wasn't during any service, and it was just 300 tourists inside, and that it felt more like visiting a landmark. She kept shouting and the guys came over and sided with me, which made her more upset. Grace went into the church and Harry told me that while he agreed with me, religion is a touchy thing to argue about, and I probably should have backed down. He followed Grace, while Tom came with me to get ice cream. The trip was awkward, and when we got home we avoided each other for a while. I thought things would go back to normal after a week or two, but it didn't. I burned myself and she told me I should get used to the pain because I'll be getting burnt a lot in hell. We invited her to sit and watch a movie with us. It was my turn to pick the movie, but she said that if I don't want to participate in her interests, she won't participate in mine and stormed off. I feel really conflicted because Grace and Harry, but not as bad, still think I'm the idiot here, and I'm beginning to think I'm a hypocrite because I did go to a church for tourist reasons. Not the idiot. So sorry for your trauma in Catholic school. It's not lost on me that Grace behaved this way about church, and on Easter no less, when the teachings of Jesus are the exact opposite. None of this was loving, which is what Jesus said is the most important commandment. I'm sorry she failed to act out her faith in that moment. I hope she reflects and realizes she wasn't a good friend to you, and that the best way to share her faith is to show and live it, not scream about it or try to force it down people's throats. Not the idiot. You went to a church, you did not attend church services. It is perfectly alright to admire a building and hold respect to it, but forcing someone to attend an event, religious or not, that previously brought trauma to a friend is an idiot move. Your friend should have realized it and not force her religion on her friends. She's an idiot, and your friend is a minor one for suggesting you submit to an event you have no interest in participating in. Not the idiot. Grace was absolutely in the wrong. For the record, I have also experienced trauma at the hands of the church. My now ex, knowing this, wanted us to attend a communication workshop at a Catholic retreat. Trying to save the marriage, I reluctantly agreed. Of course, there was mandatory attendance at Sunday Mass before the final session. After 10 minutes with my back literally against the wall, I had a panic attack and fled. My wife and I have been together for 9 years. I have 2 biological children and 1 stepchild. My oldest is 24 and out on his own working on his master's, while my second is 20 and enjoying her college days several states away. My stepdaughter is 19 and attending another school a few hours away too. Before I agreed to pay for any of the kids' education, I was very upfront with everyone that there were conditions that were to be met, followed or payments would stop. There were no negotiations to be made, and if that were a problem they could take out loans. The rules were and are: no medicine or drinking, no smoking, no getting pregnant or getting anyone pregnant, register to vote and vote, I don't care who for, no legal problems, maintain 2.5 or better. All 3 of the kids agreed to these rules, and I have handled all of their expenses. My first graduated with no issue, and my daughter hasn't caused any hiccups either. However, the rules have seemed to be too much for stepdaughter. My wife sat me down earlier last week and told me stepdaughter had been caught with alcohol in her room and she was placed on academic probation at last semester's end for a low grade point average. She had known for a while but kept it from me. I told her that it was fine, but no more. The support for me was done. My wife wanted to argue with me and claimed I was playing favorites. However, I argued back because my children hadn't broken any rules, so there was no double standard or favoritism going on. Our tense household became tenser this past weekend when my daughter called me to let me know stepdaughter had called her asking for a small loan. The loan was for an abortion. I confronted my wife about it and asked if she felt this was also a secret and if it was also me playing favorites. She knew about it as well and was pretty speechless about it. I don't know where this all went wrong. She never acted like this at home, but I know it's a lot of freedom to have when you're young. My wife doesn't want to send her the money because she's against abortion, but I don't want a baby in the house. I'm too old for that now. Not sure how to solve that pickle. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot, my goodness. These are all grown legal adults we're talking about, who agreed to a certain set of rules. One of them broke the rules, so that one gets punished. Cut and dry. The bigger problem is your wife lying to you and effectively stealing your money for her daughter's wasted education. As for the abortion, see my comments on adulthood. You get yourself into messes as an adult, you get yourself out of them. Not the idiot. You have an agreement and she broke that agreement. But I would strongly advise you to have a sit down with your stepdaughter considering bailing your stepdaughter out, and after that cut her off. I would not necessarily bail out your stepdaughter for her, but do it for your wife and more importantly do it for yourself, because based upon your wife's actions, it's only a matter of time before your grandchild becomes your child, and as you say, you're too old for that now. Not the idiot. I see a lot of commenters on the everyone's the idiot here, and you are the idiot side saying they don't agree with your rules, they don't have to, and neither do your kids. You are giving them a free ride to college which they are not entitled to, and they can agree to the conditions or not. It's no different than me not liking most of my job, but doing it because it's the condition of getting my paycheck. I am curious why your wife can't pay for her schooling if she has no issues with her daughter's behavior, and she hasn't put 2 other kids through college. I've always enjoyed having nice clothes. I don't get obsessive about things must be X label, but if I have the money to splurge on a classic dress from a reputable designer, I'll buy it. My sister is more into collecting hobby items, like video games, comic books, paperbacks, etc. She has a lot of those little Funky Pops, etc. I love her apartment, it's filled with so many things it's like a flea market of geekdom. 8 months ago she had a medical issue that required a lot of extra attention and work. We all banded together to support her, but she ended up racking up a lot of medical debt and much worse, nearly died. She's slowly recovering but will need more care. 4 weeks ago, she let me know that she'll be able to handle her medical debt slowly over time, but said that she was hoping I could help. I told her that I'd definitely help. Then she said that her idea was that we could host a fire sale of my designer clothes and other things, and probably cut down a huge chunk of the debt. I didn't realize she was being serious, but she was. There are a few things that are in the queue to be resold to make room for new items anyway, and I had already planned to split some of that money 70-30 between new items and giving them to her. I'm usually good at estimating what I can get for my clothes, and I was going to have around $7,000 to give. She was hurt and told me that she's my sister, they're just clothes. I asked her then, is she doing the same with her figurines and stuffed toys, comic books, etc.? She got on my case about how she's sick, she's feeling bad, and I'm expecting her to part with the things that make her happy. I told her that no, I don't expect her to, but she can't expect me to just sell all my clothes either. She argued that I have more than enough and that I spend thousands of dollars a year. Which is true, but not in the way she thinks. I'd maybe start with a $5,000 new money cap, but end up selling $9,000 worth of items, so the amount is closer to $14,000. Anyway, moving on, she got her mom and dad and brother involved, and they're all pushing me to contribute more, saying that I definitely don't need new clothes. I'm not arguing that I do, and like I said, I was planning on giving her money anyway. But she's not even willing to put up her own items into this, and to me that sends a bad message. I feel for my sister, but if she isn't even willing to help herself in this situation, I don't think I'm wrong to not dump all of my clothes for her. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I understand that she is probably going through a lot, and I'm sure the financial debt is going to be extraordinary, and that can cause major stress, but you are already doing more than enough by agreeing to help her in the first place. At the end of the day, if you want to keep your things, you should be allowed to do that without criticism from your family. If the amount you provide is not enough, your parents are more than welcome to contribute more, but you shouldn't be obligated practically or even morally to sell your own things for her. Not the idiot. I'm drowning in medical debt from an issue I was born with, but I don't ask my family or expect them to pay medical bills. Anything I receive as help is appreciated, and no one should be taking inventory of anyone else's life and deciding what they should and shouldn't do with their hard-earned money. Family is important, but so are boundaries and independence. You can support your sister, and from the sounds of it, you're willing to put a huge chunk of money in, and no one should ever say that's not enough. Not the idiot. Your whole family sounds delusional. You're willing to give her $7,000 during a pandemic at that, and she's complaining about wanting more. You're better than me, cause the most my siblings would get is $1,000. They're all being selfish, especially your sister. Her collection can raise her a lot of money, and she's selfish for not considering it. It seems as though they all want you and only you to pay for her medical bills.